Thousands of years ago, in the heart of the desert, stood an empire that believed its rulers were gods and whose power reached the edges of the known world. This was the golden age of ancient Egypt. But here's the question. How could a civilization capable of carving eternity into stone fail to preserve its own empire? The civilization of the Nile. More than 5,000 years ago, one of the world's most extraordinary civilizations rose along the banks of the Nile River. Ancient Egypt was not built in a day. It evolved through centuries of political change, cultural growth, and technological advancement. From monumental pyramids to complex religious beliefs, from centralized governance to powerful military expansion, Egypt became one of the most influential civilizations in human history. Historians divide ancient Egyptian history into major periods: the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, and later eras. Among these, the Golden Age is most commonly associated with the New Kingdom, CE 1550 to 1070 BCE, a time of empire, wealth, stability, and architectural brilliance. But how did Egypt rise to such power, and why did it eventually decline? This is the complete, historically accurate story of the Golden Age and the gradual fall of ancient Egypt. The foundations, early kingdoms, and unification. Ancient Egypt began around 3100 BCE, when Upper and Lower Egypt were unified under a ruler traditionally identified as Narmer, sometimes associated with Menes. This unification created one of the world's earliest centralized states. The pharaoh was seen not just as a king, but as a divine ruler, the living embodiment of Horus. The Old Kingdom, CE 2686 to 2181. Often called the Age of the Pyramids, this period saw the construction of the massive pyramid complexes at Giza, including the Great Pyramid built for Khufu. Key characteristics: strong centralized government, monumental stone architecture, advanced engineering, stable agricultural economy based on the Nile floods. However, toward the end of the Old Kingdom, internal political fragmentation and possibly reduced Nile flooding weakened central authority. Egypt entered a period of instability known as the First Intermediate Period. Reunification and stability. The Middle Kingdom, CE 2055 to 1640 BCE, began when rulers from Thebes reunified Egypt. It was a time of administrative reform, expansion into Nubia, agricultural development, especially in the Fayum region, growth in literature and art. This era strengthened Egypt's bureaucracy and improved governance. Yet around 1650 BCE, foreign rulers known as the Hyksos gained control over parts of northern Egypt, introducing new military technologies such as horse-drawn chariots. Their rule would eventually trigger a powerful Egyptian response. The Golden Age, the New Kingdom. The Golden Age truly begins when native Egyptian rulers expelled the Hyksos around 1550 BCE. This marked the start of the New Kingdom, Egypt's most powerful era. Why is this considered the Golden Age? Vast territorial expansion, immense wealth from tribute and trade, monumental temple construction, strong centralized military state, international diplomacy. Let's examine the most important rulers of this era. The warrior kings and imperial expansion. One of the greatest military leaders was Thutmose III, often called the Napoleon of Egypt. He led numerous campaigns into Syria and Canaan, establishing Egypt as a dominant power in the Near East. Under his rule, Egypt controlled territories up to the Euphrates River. Tribute flowed from conquered states. Trade networks expanded dramatically. Egypt was no longer just a Nile kingdom, it was an empire. The female pharaoh, Hatshepsut. One of the most remarkable rulers of this era was Hatshepsut. Rather than focusing on war, she emphasized trade expeditions, notably to the land of Punt, monumental architecture, economic prosperity. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari remains one of Egypt's architectural masterpieces. Religious revolution, Akhenaten. The Golden Age was not without turmoil. Akhenaten attempted a radical religious reform. He elevated Aten, the sun disk, above other gods and reduced the power of traditional priesthoods. He founded a new capital at Amarna, promoted a unique artistic style, disrupted traditional religious systems. After his death, Egypt quickly restored traditional polytheistic worship. Ramesses the Great, peak of power. The new kingdom reached monumental grandeur under Ramesses II, CE 1279 to 1213 BCE. His achievements include the Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites, one of the earliest known peace treaties, massive construction projects, Abu Simbel, Ramesseum. Ramesses II ruled for 66 years, symbolizing stability and strength. However, after his reign, cracks began to appear. The decline begins. Economic strain and internal weakness. After Ramesses II, military campaigns became expensive, foreign territories were difficult to control, corruption spread within the administration, workers' strikes occurred, recorded during Ramesses III's reign. The central government weakened. Invasions and the Sea Peoples. Around the late 12th century BCE, Egypt faced attacks from groups collectively known as the Sea Peoples. Ramesses III defeated them, but the wars drained Egypt's resources. Trade networks collapsed across the eastern Mediterranean during this broader Bronze Age crisis. Political fragmentation. After 1070 BCE, Egypt is split between northern and southern rulers. High priests gained power. Foreign dynasties ruled parts of Egypt, including Libyan and Nubian rulers. Eventually, Egypt was conquered by the Assyrians, then the Persians, and finally, in 332 BCE, by Alexander the Great. After Alexander's death, Egypt became part of the Ptolemaic kingdom. The last ruler of ancient Egypt was Cleopatra VII. After her defeat in 30 BCE, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Why did ancient Egypt decline? The fall was gradual, not sudden. Major causes: overexpansion of the empire, economic exhaustion, climate and agricultural stress, foreign invasions, political corruption, loss of centralized power. No single event ended ancient Egypt. It was centuries of accumulated weakness. Legacy of the Golden Age. Despite its decline, ancient Egypt left an extraordinary legacy: monumental architecture, pyramids and temples, hieroglyphic writing, advances in medicine and mathematics, diplomatic treaties, artistic traditions. Modern archaeology continues to reveal discoveries, deepening our understanding of this civilization. Ancient Egypt's Golden Age was a period of immense strength, wealth, and global influence. Its rulers built monuments that still stand after thousands of years. But like all empires, it faced internal strain and external pressure. Empires rise, empires fall. But history remembers those who leave their mark in stone. If you liked today's video, please subscribe and stay tuned for future videos. Thank you.